Welcome, builders of the internet. My name is Jessa and I work in construction. I'm really excited because I'm getting a new kitchen fitted on Monday. So today I'm going to talk about 5 things that I've learnt for how to make a small kitchen feel bigger. As always, you can find my timestamps and sources in the description. It's building on my mind. Number 1. Lighting. A great way to make kitchen space seem larger is by enhancing the lighting. If you're lucky enough to have a lot of natural light coming in through the windows, the skylights or glazed doors, then it's good to do as much as you can to keep that light coming through, to make the space feel airier and larger. This could be, say, through simple blinds rather than thick curtains which take up lots of space. In terms of the light fittings themselves, you don't want them to be too big and extravagant, as it can make the kitchen feel quite small in comparison. I'll put a link to a useful website for calculating the dimensions of your ideal light fitting in the description. I personally prefer spotlights as they're low maintenance and don't really get in the way of anything, but if your lights aren't set up in that way and you have, say, one main one in the centre of the room, then I would say don't choose something that hangs too low, as it can be quite intrusive on the space. Another consideration for the lighting is having integrated lighting at the bottom of the kitchen cupboards, which really highlights the space on your worktops or on the floor to make it feel that little bit bigger. Number 2. Colours. Similar to what I said about bathrooms, try to use less contrasting colour palettes, particularly light, white or neutral tones to make the space feel airy. Try to have colours on the same sort of palette or spectrum for everything, including the ceilings, the walls, the worktops, cabinets, fittings, and the appliances that are out, say with the toaster, the cutlery holders, the plant vases, pots or anything else that you have out. If the material and colours are consistent with each other, it makes the space feel more coordinated and pleasing to look at. Number 3. Cabinets. I've already mentioned about having integrated lighting for the bottom of cabinets, but there are other factors that can be considered too. The main suggestion that I've seen on different websites is to have open shelving that displays your kitchenware instead of closed cabinets. This works really well if you have nice items that you want to display, and is even better if you have smaller items to hang up, so they're not taking up too much room and attention. The thing is with open shelving though, is it's quite easy for things to look busy and cluttered, so make sure that what you have on show is coordinated. It's also quite easy for items to get dusty with this sort of shelving, so another alternative to this is having see-through cabinets, say with glass panels that enable you to see inside. Another consideration for the shelves is to ensure that the whole height of the kitchen is utilised. If you can, try to get custom cabinets to go all the way to the ceiling, which will help maximise your storage space, as well as being less hassle to clean above the cabinets. It's not the end of the world though if you can't get these sorts of cabinets. It can be quite tasteful to put things like baskets or other features on the top as extra storage space, or just something to help emphasise the height of the room. If you have that dead space above, sometimes it can make you feel like the ceiling is a little bit lower down. But don't worry if open shelves or glass cabinets are not for you, and you'd rather not have your kitchenware on display, because I'm definitely in a similar boat and don't want to put so much extra effort into how pristinely organised my things are. A simple choice here would be for glossy, reflective finishes for any cabinet doors and worktops, where light can bounce off it to make it feel airier and larger. But it is also worth thinking about the fact that it could highlight any smudges, scratches and smears, more so than matte surfaces. Something else to help maximise the space in the kitchen is introducing curved cabinets, which are also quite helpfully less painful to bump into. This creates a nicer, smoother pathway to navigate into the kitchen and gives you back a little bit of extra space that square furniture would typically take up. Number 4. Tiling. Generally, it's recommended to have floor tiles on the medium to larger size, which match or at least work well with the cabinets, and this does come down to personal preference in the end. When the tiles are being laid, it's good to try and have them laid to go with the length of the kitchen, so going in the same direction as the longest wall in the room, which will help elongate the room and probably be easier to lay too, because there will be less cutting to do. For splashbacks, which are the bits that are behind sinks and hobs, smaller tiles can be more appropriate here because it's covering less space. But having tiles too small does give more grouting lines to look at, which are sometimes less appealing and make the area less pleasant to look at. I personally prefer not choosing patterned tiles because it's easier for them to become dated and old-fashioned, and sometimes can be a bit confusing and distracting. Keeping things simple, using lighter colours and ensuring your surfaces are reflective will usually be a good shout for helping keep the kitchen space feeling bigger. Number 5. Fittings. The last thing I'll talk about today is the choice of fittings and appliances. If you can afford integrated appliances, particularly for the fridge, the dishwasher and microwave, which have a matching finish and colour scheme as the rest of the kitchen, this can be such a nice way of having a seamless look that blends into the rest of the room. But they do tend to be more expensive to install and maintain. If you'd rather have freestanding appliances, which tend to be more affordable, it could be worth trying to get them to match and coordinate with each other. So they could be all white or all chrome. As I've said over and over, having less things drawing attention will make the space look less busy and feel more spacious. One feature that can have a fair influence on how spacious the kitchen feels is actually the sink. Yes, it can be really useful to have a large double sink, but choosing a smaller single sink or a 1.5 sink with a slim second bowl can enable you to have more space for storage. It takes up less space and is a little bit less intrusive on the eyes. The same sort of principle applies to the hob. I know it can be super desirable to have a 5-burner, 6-burner or even an 8-burner gas hob, but if you're willing to compromise on how many pots and pans you can have cooking at once, using a more compact 4-burner cooker will be easier to fit in and have more room for other things to put instead. For small kitchens, there will usually be some sort of compromise, and it's worth thinking about which appliances are absolutely necessary to be on display all the time. Having, say, a blender, toaster, rice cooker, food processor, or any other kitchen gadget out in the open all the time will not only be a lot of clutter to look at, but it could limit how useful the worktops are because you have less space to do actual food preparation in the kitchen. Thanks for watching this video. If you have anything else to add, please feel free to leave a comment below and check out my channel for other things to do with my house renovation process, construction, mental health and sustainability. That's all I have to say for now though. I hope it helped build on your mind. Thanks for watching this channel, it's building on my mind. Check out my other videos, but first hit the bell and comment, like, subscribe. Please it really helps with the algorithm.